Kevin Durant is now a Houston Rocket. He is being moved by the Phoenix Suns. The trade can't officially be consummated, I think, till July 6th because of just the way Green's contract. There's a what's called a poison pill provision in it.
I will say that would potentially allow a third team to get in there and try to make a little bit more chaos. That also, for the number 10 overall draft pick, things get funny there because on draft night later this week, the Rockets will be picking the Suns pick, so they got to tell each other who they want. But yeah, it would allow the terms of the trade to change up just a smidge because it won't be final till it's final on July 6th. And it could give the Cavs or any other NBA team an opportunity to hop in there as a third team.
Yeah, I mean, this is just absolutely wild. And then on top of it, you've got KD, there's this fan fest thing that's going on, Fanatics Fan Fest thing that's going on.
Absolutely massive event in New York City.
Right. And Kevin Durant's on stage.
I saw Joe Burrow was with the Rizzler.
With the Rizzler?
Yeah. You know who the Rizzler is?
No way, really?
Joe Burrow linked up with the Rizzler last night.
Oh, did they do the Riz face?
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's breaking news right there, Daryl.
Yeah. Honestly, I thought we were gonna lead the show with it. The Rizzler posted last night aura overload with a photo of Joey B. That Fanatics Fest looks crazy. I'm trying to get into sports cards. That's been like my latest fixation. I've been trying to get into sports cards a little bit.
We need to have a conversation.
Okay.
I am willing to help you out with that.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. I bought a box the other day and I opened it and there were a couple cool cards in there, but for the most part, it just seems like a lot of cardboard.
We're gonna have a conversation off the air.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I'm gonna be able to help you out with that.
Okay.
216.
I'm into that. I'm big into that.
216-474-0092. Kevin Durant not coming to the Cavaliers, much to the chagrin of Nick Padone, who spent most of this show.
Yeah, it feels like it was all for naught now.
Trying to talk me into, like, I don't know, stepping away from reality and believing that Kevin Durant had a scintilla of a chance of becoming a Cavalier. I came dangerously close to pulling a Hugh Jackson and volunteering to jump in Lake Erie in the middle of Cavs season if Kevin Durant became a Cavalier. I didn't make the promise, but it was coming. We were getting there. Like I was talking about, the path I would take down East 9th Street, past the Rock Hall, and then up the, Voinovich Park and all. But now I don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, it does take a little bit of the wind out of my sails. I mean, just because...
What, because I was right again?
You were right, but even more so because I'm watching other teams around the association beef up. And I just watched the Cavs flame out in the second round again. And it would be nice if the Cavs were able to beef up. But, man, the more that we sit here and we watch these other moves go on, the more that we talk to these respected NBA and Cleveland Cavaliers journalists that have a good understanding of how this second apron works, it really just feels like the Cavs are pretty handcuffed in what they can do because of the restrictions of that second apron. And it's difficult because that the Cavs have a good team, a talented team. It's just you need a little bit more, and you need a little bit more in terms of guys that could get it done when the lights are the brightest, guys that could get it done in the postseason. But it's growing increasingly more difficult to view a path where they could get one of these guys that could help them get out of the second round.
Yeah, I mean,
so we're back. We're all that to say, Daryl,
we're back where we started from at the beginning of the show.
The plot has always been, come home, LeBron, please. Opt for free agency. Opt for the Nike ads, the campaign, the farewell tour. No, leave the $50 million or whatever it is on the table. It's free agency. It was always free agency. It's later this July. You're bigger than KD. You're certainly a bigger deal than anything that the NBA has done this year. Do the farewell tour. Do it in Cleveland. Bring Bronny home. If we lose Ty Jerome, we'll need a backup point guard. Come home, LeBron. That's how we'll get out of the second round next year, Daryl.
Yeah, I mean, he's got a player option that's worth $52.6 million.
Decline that. Take the mid-level exemption.
Yeah, me knowing LeBron the way I know him, which, you know, we're BFFs. I'm totally joking. Someone's like gonna be like taking that seriously. I'm kidding. But just knowing his history, the days of him taking mid-level exception, you know, like he's not taking a discount.
Speaking of that Fanatics Fest, somebody had interviewed LeBron just because it's kind of become a known thing that LeBron's a little bit of a frugal guy. I mean, he's a billionaire with a B and the only active billionaire athlete that we've ever seen in the 3 professional major sports here in the United States. Someone interviewed him at Fanatics Fan Fest, and they did a fit check, which means you go through like, I got this hat from here, I got this shirt from here. He said, this hat, the hat, where'd you get it from? Free. It was an uninterrupted hat. The chain, where'd you get it from? Free. The shirt was free. The pants were free. The watch was free. He's like, free is my favorite price. I'm like, hey, that's something that I've got in common with LeBron James. He has an affinity for the free items.
Well, you have to understand, free is my favorite 4-letter F word. Food is my second favorite 4-letter F word, and we will not discuss the third. We're working on getting you some audio here of the moment. Apparently, Kevin Durant did not actually announce the trade.
He was just kind of sitting there with the microphone.
Apparently, this news was broken to him while he was on stage. So there's audio that's been posted to X, and I'm going to repost it on my account to give the person responsible some credit here. This is from, I don't know how to say the name. I'm just going to spell it, at ARYEPULINFL. They are the ones that posted this video. Apparently, this is somebody asking Kevin or mentioning to Kevin Durant he's been traded. Let's play that audio for you now. This again from Fan Fest in New York City. This just happened.
You're headed to Houston.
We're gonna see, man. We're gonna see.
He said, we're gonna see, man. Again, that is from at ARYEPULINFL on X. And again, I just reposted that video clip on my account. Give them credit for that audio there. But yeah, like I think it seemed
he was shocked, Daryl. I watched the video while I was cutting it. You could tell he didn't know. And then he said, we'll see. And then the host of the show, I don't know her name.
I believe that's Taylor Rooks that was on stage with him.
She was like kind of like, oh, like good coach, good teammates, and this. And he was kind of sitting there a little uncomfortably, not knowing kind of what was going on.
Yeah, right. He didn't know, guys. Yeah. He had no idea.
Imagine that being on stage at this, as you said, I guess this is just a massive event in New York City.
All the celebrities are there. Livy Dunn is there. The Joe Burrow's there. Drewski's there. Everybody's at this Fanatics thing in New York City right now.
And of course, Fanatics has really burst onto the scene. They're now a major merchandiser. I'm not a big fan of their Major League Baseball jerseys. Sorry, it's just how I feel.
Wow, from ESPN, Shams Charania, the Suns engaged in serious talks to move Durant this week, primarily focused on the Heat, Rockets, and Timberwolves, but several other wild card suitors emerged, such as the Toronto Raptors, Cleveland Cavaliers, Los Angeles Clippers, and Denver Nuggets. The Cavs did indeed call on Kevin Durant, according to Shams.
So now I owe you an apology.
I told you.
Have the tables turned on me?
I told you, because they had to. So who knows how serious those talks became? Yeah. But Shams lists them as a wild card suitor that called on Kevin Durant in recent days.
Yeah, but they would have. I mean, it would have taken the miracle of miracles to pull that off, because he's north of $50 million.
And I have to imagine that's a similar story for the Clippers and the Nuggets, who called on him as well.
Right. And the Cavaliers, they really have no assets to trade. I mean, they could have given the Phoenix Suns a bunch of second-round picks, but like, they have no first-round pick. I think the next first-round pick that the Cavaliers are eligible to trade is their 2031 first-round pick. Like, they have no assets to trade right now. I hypothesize that they will try and combine their second round picks to move up in the second round to maybe get a player that they can put on the Cleveland Charge and maybe try and develop into a little something that can maybe help them out either at the end of this season or towards, you're looking at next season. But yeah, Kevin Durant is out in Phoenix. The Suns have moved him.
I like it, Kobe.
To the Houston
Kobe's
Rockets.
got his Zion doing something this offseason. I like it. I'm going to give a little round of applause prematurely because this Cavs team needs to be improved. And if you're calling on Kevin Durant, you're willing to shake some things up. This should be good news for Cavs fans everywhere. Daryl just threw his glasses off his face in the studio and
you're
put his
giving
hand
him credit for making a phone call, which, by the way, is his job as the GM, is to pick up a phone and make, no matter how ridiculously unrealistic something is, you still have to make the call.
Come on, Dom. Wildcard suitors. Wildcard suitors.
Wildcard suitors. Wildcard suitors.
I think that what we take away from this, Nick, is that Kobe Altman, and again, this is a reminder, press conference statements are not sworn testimony, but maybe Kobe Altman is not as sold on running it back the way he portrayed it to be. Maybe he saw the light that I have been seeing here these last two off seasons. They have to shake something up. They got to shake the tree.
I mean, this is significant. The cat is out of the bag. The Cavs being named a wild card suitor for Kevin Durant means to me they were trying to make the biggest splash of the offseason. Now the rest of the NBA knows that. The rest of the sports world knows that. You were trying to be the team that, as a wild card suitor made the biggest splash of this NBA offseason. Yeah, I don't know that the Cavs are running this back, guys. And we want to hear from you, 216-474-0092, because I have a weird feeling that we're going to see the Cavs make some motion. Like, if you were trying to make the biggest move that the NBA had to offer this summer,
right,
something tells me that you're looking at significantly upgrading this roster and that the core four might not be as safe as we thought that they were coming into the show earlier this morning.
I absolutely think if Kobe Altman can trade him, he's trading Darius Garland.
I think the same could be said for Jared Allen as well. I really think the two untouchables remain Mitchell and Mobley. If they could find somebody for Garland or Allen, it's Jover.
That's just like my takeaway, because what are you trading for KD in that deal, right? It's got to be Darius. He's the most attractive piece yet. It's not going to be Donovan.
Right. Jalen Green's 22 years old. Like, they got a blue chip, and Jalen Green didn't show up in the playoffs, but Houston got back a young player that's entering their prime. Phoenix is going to try to reroute Jalen Green now. But man, I have to believe that, Garland was probably the young name that was floated in that talk. If Jalen Green was on the other line,
216-474-0092. Let's head to Chicago, where Chris has some thoughts on the KD trade. Chris, you're next up on the Fan. Good afternoon.
Gentlemen, great show. Crazy breaking news. You're right, Daryl. It always seems to happen on a Sunday.
They love us. I don't know why, but they do.
Sports gods love us, Chris.
I know. Hey, underrated part of the trade, and we'll see if the Suns keep him. If the Suns don't, I like me some Dylan Brooks on the Cavs, but I don't know. He's got some attitude and can hit some big shots, and maybe him and Donovan would have to patch things up if he came to the Cavs. But I don't know. Daryl, you were mentioning the Heat. I mean, I'm all for Durant. I mean, it's not going to happen, but because the Heat would have had to give something up, and they don't. Really
but I have no interest in anyone in the Eastern Conference getting better this offseason, if I'm being honest about it.
Yeah, I hear you. I mean, it's better than maybe the Knicks getting him or whatever, but and I think the Ishbia, Matt Ishbia, the owner of the Suns or whatever, I think him and Gilbert would, and if they think that, if they think one of them's duping the other, then that trade would go through, right? And
no, I don't think that those two will ever do business in the NBA.
I don't even think they get on the phone.
I think they will, because I think that rivalry would be like, hey, you have a chance to kind of screw the other guy. I don't know. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, I hear you. And thanks so much for the call, Chris. Stay cool there in the Windy City. Hope you get a good breeze over there. It's hot and sticky here in Cleveland right now.
Yeah,
that's for sure.
I do like the thought in principle of Dylan Brooks, because that's somebody with a little bit of energy and attitude that would be needed, but don't Google that contract. I don't know how you would make that work. And the fact of the matter is he's another guy that can't really put the ball in the basket. So the Cavs are now going to have to get creative, though, is the thing, Daryl, because the big fish is now out of the pond. Kevin Durant not coming to Cleveland. I
Here's my shocked face, by the way.
Right. I jokingly put out there that, maybe LeBron could opt for free agency and come home. I don't think that's really going to happen either. So you're got to get creative, because if those are the two biggest names that are available this offseason and neither of them are coming to Cleveland, you got to get creative, because you're watching the rest of the NBA actively go for it, actively try to get better. And I get that the Cavs go for it move was Donovan Mitchell 3 years ago, but you've had 3 straight seasons of not getting it done in the playoffs.
They did add DeAndre Hunter, who came with 2 additional years of team control as well, which, by the way, that trade, not talked about at the time, kind of put the Cavaliers into the exact situation that they find themselves in right now.
With the second April,
it feels like that now, looking back, hindsight being 2020, there in the rearview mirror, that DeAndre Hunter trade was, it kind of felt like that was the final remaining chips pushed to the middle of the table there, making that trade with the Atlanta Hawks. But you're right. I just, if you're making phone calls on Kevin Durant, which you should, that's your job, is the GM. But the only guy that I would think that would even remotely appeal to the Phoenix Suns would be Darius Garland,
especially to be named to be named in this article from Shams Charania as a wild card suitor. To me, that means you were making more than just a call.
Right.
That's more than just a, hey, what's up, James Jones? Like, here, Kevin Durant might be available. Like, to be named a wild card suitor, things probably got a little bit hotter and a little bit heavier than just due diligence,
At least
that's how I interpret it.
Yeah, and now, by the way, this is what, team 5 for Kevin Durant? I've lost count.
Yeah, team 5.
Like,
his legacy we'll look back on very oddly, because seriously, a generational scorer, arguably the best scorer ever.
Right.
But in terms of legacy and what he was able to accomplish, I think the basketball world at large, and it's certainly magnified here in Cleveland, completely undermines those championships that he won with Golden State, because, hey, you joined a team that was 73-9. Of course, you were going to win multiple NBA titles there. And then he tried his own super team in Brooklyn, and that didn't work. And then tried it again in Phoenix, and that was one of the most hilarious failures in recent memory. And now trying to join a younger core with the Houston Rockets that could hopefully help them break through their, ceiling that they seem to have reached in the NBA postseason this past year. There's just a deep piece of me, man, like deep down, it makes me like ill. And I get that the Cavs are a little strapped on what they can do because of the second apron thing. It pains me to see these young teams around the league, though, actively getting better, actively trying to shake things up. Like, to see the Heat in the mix here. Like, so now the guys that the Cavs could have on their radar via trade for DG, for JA, well, Miami's probably calling on them because they missed out on their big guy in Kevin Durant, right? I have to believe that that's how that's going to shake out. Like,
yeah, but are you really in the business of trying to make a team within your own conference better? I'd have to feel like, unless,
but it's an arms race now. Now we're in an arms race with Miami of whoever the next guy that becomes available.
Is you don't want to obstruct your own route back to the NBA Finals by making a team that you just got done demolishing in the playoffs, right? You don't want them feeling like you're helping them.
Yeah, kind of the same way.
I kind of feel like that whatever move the Cavaliers would make from a trade standpoint, unless it's of the 3-team variety, you'd want to do business with a Western Conference opponent, so that in the event that you ended up doing your trade partner a massive solid, the only time you got to worry about it coming back and biting you in the ankle is the NBA Finals. So,
Yeah.
But this notion that they're just going to run it back, I am not sold on it. Like it's one thing you hear rumblings and stuff like that, but to see Shams put that in writing
as a wild card suitor, as more than just a phone call, it certainly opens the door in my mind that the Cavs are open to making some splashes. This would have been the biggest splash of the NBA offseason if Kobe Altman could have somehow pulled this off. So you are down to do the biggest thing of the entire offseason. Yeah, the Cavs are going to be working them phones during the NBA draft, after the NBA draft, during free agency. I have to believe that if they could find the right move, the core four is far from safe. This is far from what it was last offseason where they changed coaches and that was it. I have to believe that everything is going to remain on the table for the Cleveland Cavaliers. I find it to be very significant that they called and were named wild card suitors for KD.
Yeah. Wild developments again, in case you have not heard. And by this time, if you've been listening to the show, you have. Kevin Durant is headed from the Phoenix Suns to the Houston Rockets. He was on stage in New York City at the Fanatics Fan Fest extravaganza there that's going on. LeBron was there. All the big celebrities are there participating. Fanatics is really big now in the sports apparel industry and whatnot. They supply the jerseys now for Major League Baseball, something like that. So he was informed while on stage that he had been traded, and he was taken aback by receiving that news and basically said, well, I guess we'll see. But he was clearly surprised, and it was unexpected news that he had been traded. So Nick Padone's fantasy that we indulged for a good portion of this program today here on The Fan has crashed and burned. He's
stomped out.
He's going to have to live with wild card suitors. The Cavaliers were wild card suitors for Kevin Durant.
I'm going to post, nobody better steal this because I've got how many minutes before we go to break here. I'm going to post the Spider-Man meme. Cavs, Guardians, wild card suitors this year. That's a good meme. Come on, give me a little credit for that. Where they're pointing at each other.
But are they really wild card suitors? And I'm talking about the Guardians. Like, really, are they really wild card?
Wow, you're throwing out the potential of a wild card already? Calendar hasn't even flipped in July.
Have you watched this baseball?
You're scoffing at the notion that they're not even wild card suitors?
Have you watched this baseball team in the last month and a half?
Not very exciting.
Yeah, well, exactly.
They are 30-7 when they score 4 runs or more, though. So good ball club when they could actually score some runs.
Now tell me what they are when they don't score 3 or more runs, because they do that a lot.
That's the issue. However, you could get Chase DeLauder up here. If you could maybe trade some of these guys to take up the guards.
I'm indulging one fantasy per show. You got it. Kevin Durant is not a Cavalier now.
I've exceeded my quota.
Yes, you have reached.
Well, does my quota reset because that one didn't happen? I have to move on to the next. I'm moving on to Chase DeLauder being called up. I put that as something that could happen as early as tomorrow.
No,